Hello everybody and welcome to another Stellaris video. Today I'm really excited to show you guys what is probably one of the two strongest builds that are mostly allowed in most multiplayer games. So here's the build. Let's go to this menu here, it's a little bit easier to see. We are Angler's Parliamentary System, Fanatic Egalitarian, Spiritualist, with the Overtuned Origin, with Aquatic, Fleeting Excellence, Repugnant, Unruly, and well, Seasonal Dormancy is not normally allowed, so we're going to have to remove that. And what I like to replace it with is just Enduring, so our leaders live a little bit longer, but if Seasonal Dormancy is allowed, you can go ahead and play that. And yeah, if you can see here, I've essentially posted what are the most common multiplayer rules in this chat. I'll also put them in the description so you can read that in a little bit more detail. But essentially, a lot of the really broken things are banned, like purity governments. Advanced governments are mostly banned. Lubrication basins are banned. So a lot of the strong things I've made videos on so far have been banned. So what is still very, very strong? And in that rule set in particular, even Sol and Deneb are banned. So we won't be using those. However, we will still be taking maximum advantage of bioship fleets. Do remember to select those. And we're going to be showing you what is a relatively strong year 30 build that also scales quite well. It can usually hit mega engineering around year 60, and also have a close to 20k fleet at year 30, which is very, very strong, especially in bioships, since bioships are a little bit undercounted. And what I mean by that is when bioships say 15k fleet, for example, they'll beat a 15k fleet of equivalent alloy ships most of the time. And yeah, like Maulers are incredibly broken. Essentially, all we're going to be aiming for is we're going to try to get Elder Maulers. We're going to try to get the highest tier of mandibles we can. So if we take a look at the fleet designer here and we look at the Mauler we have, is you get this combat mandible. And this is one of the strongest components in the entire game. And essentially our goal will be to get tier 2 mandibles and the Elder Mauler, and try to build them early enough so that we'll actually have a few Elder Maulers by the time we hit year 30. And one of the big downsides of that is we want to build only juvenile maulers and have them naturally grow up into the elder species, which does mean that it can be a little bit difficult. Because you have to start growing them at like year 20, which means you have to have a military economy by year 20, which is not always the easiest. Anyhow, let's go ahead and stop being distracted. Let's set our species to utopian. This will massively impact our consumer goods. We'll go isolationist as well, and civilian economy as we normally do. And also we can remember to take on venerations of saints, as we will be working the few Prius jobs that we do have, so increasing their output does help a little bit. Now we also want to kind of reduce the amount of enforcers we have, and just reduce some of the other jobs that we won't be using in the early game, such as metallurgists. We don't need any of those, as we're not going to be rushing colony ships as fast as we can. We'll just be building them when they become available to us. So when you get this habitable world survey, let's take a look. We've got a tomb world here. That's actually good. We really, really need some extra worlds when playing this build, so we actually want to leave it until our Autochthon monument is done, and it'll give us a lot more unity that way. So we're going to go ahead and wait for that. And let's also go ahead and take adaptive economic policies. And once we get that, we basically want to go to our trade policies, turn on marketplace of ideas, and let's take a look at our unity output. 167. Our Autochthon monument finished as well, I believe. So I'm just going to make sure 1 month ticks over and see if that has updated properly. And if it has, we can go ahead and select our habitable world survey. And okay, a month is now ticked over. So yeah, 167 was updated, or 169. As you can see, this now gives 1050 unity instead of 600 and something. So yeah, that's like a small tip you get whenever you get unity giving events. Make sure you wait for your unity to power spike and then select the event. And you can take a look at how much more unity we get from that event because of it. And that'll simply help rush our first 2 tradition trees and let us get started on Ascension. Also, it's about now we can spend some of this hefty trade we're producing, and we can use that trade to buy a colony ship and start colonizing our first planet. We don't want to colonize 2 planets too quickly to bring our empire size up too high. However, we're doing perfectly fine here. So Yeah, I haven't played for quite a few days. I was going to make this video a couple days ago, but I could not find the energy to do it, so here we are now. Um, yeah, also, I'm a little bit rusty, so this won't be as optimized as it is possible to do so. Um, I'm sure many players who try a similar build will have better results than what I can manage for year 30, but it's still a very strong idea of build path, basically. Going mercantile first with not like an unemployment focus, but just taking advantage of the fact we have a lot of civilians is definitely recommendable. We can now disable all our technicians and just buy out more minerals, more consumer goods, and all that good stuff. And I think we want to even go prosperity here. And yeah, we're already at 240 unity a month. And we also have exactly 4 planets, which is really nice to see. I like doing this build with a plan to take exactly 4 planets. In most multiplayer games, you'll get your 2 guaranteeds, and then 1 planet that is kind of off habitability, and anything more than that can be considered lucky. So yeah, showcasing a run where we have exactly 4 planets is kind of the sweet spot for the minimum you need for a very strong build. And essentially how we want to do our planets is our homeworld will be consumer goods and alloys, which seems like a big stretch for just one world for both consumer goods and alloys, but we have to remember that with bioships, you need significantly more food than you need alloys. And then that basically means we need one world for research, one world for food, preferably your largest world, so this size 23, and then your off planet, like this tomb world here, will be minerals and consumer goods. As we still can't ignore, or not minerals and consumer goods, I'm sorry, minerals and energy, as we can't ignore minerals and energy forever, so having a decent source of them is still relatively important. So yeah, that is going to be our plan there. Our colony ship is now done. Let's get this colonizing right away, as we don't need to wait for that. And as soon as we can afford, actually, we can just buy the consumer goods, to be honest, since we are pretty rich in trade, thanks to mercantile being really, really OP early. And yeah, as you can see, the early game economy is quite easy to manage, and your unity really flies in very quickly as well, so you don't have to think about that too much. Okay. So essentially what our plan now is on our homeworld, we want to basically just continuously build city districts. We can use the extra consumer goods we get, which is very nice, and we want to just deprioritize the alloy jobs and stuff we get from this being a mixed industry instead of a civilian industry. You can spend time to convert that into a civilian industry as well, but it's not necessary. You can just build city districts. So we don't need a crazy amount of consumer goods. Essentially what we're doing is we just want to build up this planet to get ready to convert it into a full-time industry world as soon as we have the basic economy to support that. Right now, of course, if we did that, we would not quite have the minerals. We do get Cybrex here, which is quite interesting, and we also get our first colony. That event does not scale with the amount of unity production you have. It always just gives 1,000, so don't worry about min-maxing that. You can just go ahead and click the 1,000 unity right away, and as you can see, we are really quickly filling out the prosperity tradition tree. If we're lucky enough to get one more unity event, we can get this entire tradition tree by the middle of year 4. If not, usually about the beginning of year 5, towards the end of year 5, depending on how your run is going and your leaders. We don't have a unity boosting leader for our planet here, so we probably won't manage to get. We do get trade focus, which helps a little bit, but so that probably means we won't get our tradition tree done by early year 5, and we're probably looking for mid year 5, which is still not too bad. Though if we're lucky, we can get it even faster. We'll just see. We'll see how it goes, I guess. One thing you can even do if you want to minimax even harder, or min-max, I've been told. I don't know why I got used to calling it minimax, and now I can't stop saying it. But is you would deprioritize your minor jobs so they can go into civilians and produce even more trade. But I also find it nice to have some spare amount of minerals. It simply makes managing like late game or mid game, I guess, in this sense, like year 10 plus, a little bit easier, as you'll have tons of minerals to build up your planets with in that case. So yeah, no worries there. Let's just keep deprioritizing this metallurgist as well. As you can see, we have a decently healthy consumer goods input now, which is always nice. as well. We can use those consumer goods um, to just stock them up a little bit, um, which will be very nice for when we need to start building tech and all that, and for building uh, ships and stuff like that. And we can just send these over here to this planet to get ready to colonize that. And also, we definitely want to colonize this tomb world. Otherwise, we'll end up having to use one of these worlds as our food world or our tech world or something like that. And I ideally want this to be my tech world, uh, this size 23 to be my food world, and this size 18 tomb world to probably be my basic resource world. Um, so that means I will need a bit more alloys too. So let's actually go ahead and put a monthly alloy buy of 3 on from now on, as we will need more alloys. And we're not producing any. It's easier to buy them with trade than it is to just produce them. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's also just get this ship queued up to go to the right places to speed up our building. 290 Unity, 9 months. Yeah, so that's looking like mid-year 5, which is not too bad. The earliest I've ever gotten, with some luck, is near the beginning of year 4. And the unluckiest you can really get is at the beginning of year 6, which is not too bad at all, considering we haven't dedicated very much to producing Unity, to be honest, right? Like, we're still producing some tech. It's only 96, but it's honestly something. The only thing we've really done is we've gone Utopian and using these civilians and Fanatic Egalitarian in order to produce a really crazy amount of Unity. We're also right next to this Empire here, so hopefully they're friendly. I don't want to fight a Grand Admiral AI. Actually, I just remembered I did not turn these AIs to Grand Admiral. I have forgotten because this is a multiplayer game. Just so I had a chat to post the rules into. I can post them here too in case you want to read them as I'm yapping. Though it's probably pretty hard to read unless you have a very high resolution version of this stream. I do believe I upload in 2K, so if you're watching in 2K, you can probably read that, to be honest. But if you're watching in anything lower, I would imagine it's somewhat difficult. We don't actually need to go planetary unification right away, as it's not even going to finish before we start our biomorphosis situation. And this is actually looking like a pretty good pace. This is like beginning of year 5 pace, which is not bad at all. And yeah, let's just continue to build the city districts as well. And just remember to deprioritize your metallurgists. We do not need any extra metallurgists. Yeah, one interesting thing here too I just noticed is our minerals deposits are not great. We get this 1-6 and this 1-6 here, but our first 2 guaranteeds being a 3 and a 4 for energy is a little bit unlucky, but sometimes that happens. And of course, we're going to take biomorphosis, and we're going to open mutation with the end goal of going cloning, because as I mentioned, all the advanced purity governments, which is what makes them strong, have been banned. And as soon as you start researching your biomorphosis situation, you want to start building the genomic research facility and the medical center on every planet, giving you a good injection of society research and helping the situation actually move, because it will not move before you finish the genomic research building. This is also why you don't want to delay your first 2 planets too much. In old Stellaris, like pre 4.0, whenever you played a biological build, one of the most important things possible was to get your planets building as soon as possible or colonizing as soon as possible. In 4.0, it's not as important because before you're done Ascension, your planets don't produce very much at all because the base pop growth speed is so low that all they really do is they take planets off your very efficient homeworld and onto your less efficient colony. So you actually usually don't want to rush your colonies, but we need to get our colonies not too late because we just want to start building the genomic research building and medical facility on every single planet we get to speed up the situation. So yeah, not waiting too long to colonize these planets is a very helpful thing. As you can see, we're lacking a little bit of what's that called, influence there to even take this planet here. So we're going to build this mining station first and then head over there. And we can also just set this on auto survey now, so in case it finds any nice mineral deposits or that kind of thing, or arc furnace systems, we can of course look into taking them. Arc furnaces, however, are not too important for the build, but they are a nice bonus in case you decide to start on Sol, which I would recommend if it's allowed. In case you don't know what that means, is you can select your home system. I am on random unary, However, Soul is definitely better if you want to maximize your arc furnaces. And Deneb is good if you want a guaranteed size 20. I was lucky enough to just RNG a size 20 here, which is very nice. So either of those options would be fantastic. But instead, we're using fully random as to comply with that's a size 30 ocean world there. We're not going to take that. This is usually a pre-FTL system, and we can, of course, do the good old-fashioned check for pre-FTL. And, of course, we have build observation posts. This little check here basically means that this is guaranteed to have pre-FTL, so it would be very nice for most empires to take. However, I don't really want to take a size 30 ocean world, as well, it's not a very relatable experience to have a size 30 of your starting world type. That's also one of the reasons, however, I would recommend if you don't know which planet type to pick, always pick ocean, as most empire, like it's the most common world type that even AIs will use, as some AIs will pick aquatic, which will require them to use ocean world. Not the most common, but there's a lot of very cool planets that are ocean worlds that spawn in a lot of worlds, like the size 30 ocean world for Ocean Paradise and size 25 ocean with the Sea of Consciousness. There's a lot of like special planets in the game with oceans, which are large ocean world planets, and you want to have the chance to be able to have them with your preferred habitability type. So yeah, I would say there is some very cool benefits to starting on ocean world, which you don't really get with many other planet types. And nowadays as well, food is very strong. Even if your empire doesn't use food, you can artificially build so many districts of energy or whatever. Like you can have a planet with one mineral district, and you can expand that up to like 9, and then have like the equivalent of 11, because you can have like and then you can have fallen empire buildings, which expand the amount of jobs you can have on a planet like that even more. If you're a machine, you can go resource consolidation and make a planet with one mineral district or 0 mineral districts into a mineral planet. So at least if you play into late game these days, there is very little downside to not having an ocean world. Though if you really care about your start, then there could be an argument for energy worlds, which are deserts, and mining worlds, which are Arctic worlds or cold worlds. However, I simply don't believe that those outweigh the benefits of finding a size 30 ocean world like this out out for you to take. Like making that into your home world or some shit would be very, very cool in the long run, if that's the kind of thing you played for. Anyhow, we're also going to enable resettlement now. It's not too important to do this, but I just like to fill up these genomic researcher jobs as fast as possible, as they really do provide a lot of benefits. Extra pop growth speed, extra situation speed, albeit only a tiny bit, is always very nice. And essentially what we're going to want to do with this planet is we're just going to want to build an engineering research specialization immediately, as we've already decided this size 15 will be our research world, and this tomb world here will be, of course, our basic resource world. This is, funnily enough, actually the first world we want to significantly develop, as we need a ton of mineral districts in the early... Oops, sorry there, I have a little bit of a burp. Sorry about that. And yeah, also this, every time you see something that increases the biomorphosis situation advance by 50, you always want to select that option regardless of how much you like or dislike the modifiers it gives you, as... Ooh, terraforming. You know what? It's a very long research, so I'm not sure if it's worth taking, but I think it would be funny to terraform the tomb world as soon as possible. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, and on this planet here, Genomic Research Facility, Medical Center, I think you guys are getting the idea. And as you can see, this is why I did not turn off the consumer goods buy. We've been buying 25 the entire time. And that is because even though we've been constantly building city districts, basically, once we get these genomic researchers, they really do increase the demand for consumer goods quite a bit. So our excess trade is also disappearing as our civilians are going down. And our extra minerals, as you can see, there's not as many as you would think left. So yeah, do keep all that in mind when you're expanding. Ooh, and this system is amazing. Is this a arc furnace system? Yes, it is. Wow, we are so lucky this round. We have an arc furnace system, 1 jump, a size 23 guaranteed, and a 15, which is very, very good. Nice. I didn't even script this. I like on a lot of the videos. I actually make a couple saves until I see a couple nice planets nearby or something to make a video from, because it's simply more interesting than having like a size 12 and a size 14 for guaranteeds, which happens quite often. Um, to be honest, which kind of makes the videos less interesting, but it does mean I am cherry picking spawns just a little bit for the videos. But this time I didn't do that at all, and this is still a very comfortable spawn, I would say, which is very cool to see. Um, One thing we can also do here is once we get to year 10, we can actually drop um, Marketplace of Ideas and go to Consumer Benefits. Ooh, exotic gas extraction is very, very good for an option there. As if we can get an early exotic gas extraction going, we can get much more efficient pops than we would normally have access to as soon as we ascend, which is obviously very, very valuable. So we're just going to go favorite society here. And yeah, we're simply taking favorite society so that we can have a small boost to our basic economy and a regular, stuff. It all helps. It all adds up to quite a bit. And yeah, so that means we're going to get resource exotic gases. Ooh, this is wells. Do we want to do this right away? I think we still want to do that right away. I don't know which planet we have the exotic gas wells on. Let's see if we can take a look through our planets and try and find that. Ore rich caverns. Nope, I don't think it's this. Boggy ferns? I forget how to examine the planet districts for like where the exotic gas extraction wells actually are ever since 4.0. Ever since 4.0, honestly, hasn't been that important because the base buildings are so good. Like just the regular exotic gas plant, you put one on industrial planet, and it just produces so much resources that you never really have to think about rare resources again, and you actually have to toggle them off to stop burning minerals because they produce much more than you need in terms of rare resources, which I'm a big fan of. I hated dedicating entire planets just to rare resources. It was very, very lame, as it's like a planet with like 20 pops and it's completely capped out, which was never that fun, to be honest. They are wise to be cautious, I guess. But now I don't even know how to find out where my exotic boggy friend, like I don't remember the names that coincide with gases, or if I don't remember them just because I'm not seeing them here. And they are indeed on this colonizing planet, which you can't look at the districts anymore from what I can tell, unless there's a button to do that somewhere and I just don't know. Yeah, I'm always baffled by the UI decisions in this game, as I don't play with any UI mods. There are two reasons for that. Also, we're going to go Purity as our second pick. It's Mutation, Purity, Cloning, and then we're going to go Cloning Ascension. But yeah, anyway, so what was I saying about the UI? I was going on a UI tangent, right? Is I don't use any UI mods because I want to be relatable. I don't want anyone to see my game and be confused as to like why my tech is broken down into 3 different numbers without me doing that, or that kind of thing. But in exchange for that, right, we do have to deal with the very below standard default UI settings for this game, in my opinion. As first of all, a lot of important information is just not displayed to you. Like you have to open this menu to see which natural rare resources you're producing or not producing. You have to break this down to see your tech distribution. Other ones that I think are pretty bad are just the planet UI is way more clunky than it needs to be. Everything feels one click farther away than it needs to be, and there is no search bar for buildings. I guess the default sorting options are not too bad, but it gets really, really long once you have Fallen Empire buildings available and that kind of thing. So at the end of the day, these are all small complaints, but they do add up to being, I'd say, less than optimal for something that should be pretty easy, in my opinion. So anyways, small rant aside, let's go ahead and get this on auto build. Let's get some of these resources extracted, and I also want to get this planet going as soon as possible. As you can see, at this point in the game is kind of where we start to get our rare resources really, or just not our rare resources, all our resources very stressed. Besides minerals, you always want to keep a positive mineral outlook, as without minerals, you can't build yourself out of any bad situation, which is one of the reasons I also don't deprioritize mineral workers in the early game, despite it probably being a pretty good idea. Let's see, we get Unity, we get consumer goods. Ooh, these are all good options, but Unity and happiness is pretty good. Consumer good output 25%, or tech for 5 years. Honestly, tech, screw it. I'm a big sucker for big tech. Did one of our leaders just die, or did they get promoted? They got promoted. That was not a great play. I probably should have forced somebody specific into our number one's position, but I was not paying attention to the election, so of course that didn't happen. But also, we don't want to spend too much Unity on it, so it's also not a big deal to just take whoever we got. And let's also take a look at this planet. Was this the planet with the ore-rich caverns? I think that's usually crystals, right? I do usually believe that the extraction wells go on bogs, but I cannot remember how to tell if that is true or not. Boggy ferns, max. Nowhere in this tooltip does it say it produces exotic gases, but if it doesn't say in the tooltip anywhere, where would it actually say, right? Max generator districts, max mining districts, max mining districts, max agriculture districts. It doesn't say anywhere. So which planet is it? Oh my god, I'm so sorry if you guys know, and you're just painfully watching me be clueless. But yeah, let's not think about that too much here. Ooh, crime amenities. Right, we'll take that. As you can see, currently our tech is not great, 260. Our basic economy is really not great. It's mostly dying. And our biomorphosis situation is only okay. So at this point in time, you're probably wondering what is the strength of this build? It doesn't look that good. However, this is not the point in the game where this build gets strong, right? It is the fact that we finish Ascension year 13 or 14 usually. And then after Ascension, we get 20 pop growth on every planet right away. And we get decent pop efficiency, 70-80%. Better than default. Let's take a look at where we're at right now. So if we take a look at our economy and we click into these jobs, right? We can see that we're 367 out of 360. So that is almost, it's 2% efficiency. It's almost nothing. But yeah, later on we can expect that to get to 70-80%, which is pretty good. Not as good as Purity, which can get a lot higher than that. But with the good pop growth, it is not that much weaker in my opinion, which is very, very nice to see, I guess. So also with this amazing mineral planet, it's going to decrease our need for minerals quite a bit, to the point where our first district on our basic resource planet might actually be a generator district, which is pretty crazy. And I'm pretty happy to see that. So yeah, awesome. Let's go ahead and just go mining stations here. Just a quick tech to pass it over, and let's also refresh this and just see if now we can see where the hell our... Is it features? Nope. I guess we just hover over the mining job on every planet, right? And it should say gases now? Or do I need to build a harvester or something on the planet? I don't know how the basic resources that don't come from the dedicated buildings and that come from the actual mining work anymore, as I've not used them since 4.0. I've always just used the base building. But let's see if we can find it, because if we can get this before Ascension, it'll be huge. So yeah, let's just get a mining district here as well. Get ready for that, and let's also just move a few pops over. Yeah, I'm sorry, you live on a tomb world. Too bad, I guess. You know what I mean? It's okay. You won't hate the habitability of a tomb world very soon after we ascend, because our mutagenic habitability, which we get from selecting what is it called? Mutation as our first option. I believe, where is it? It's one of these options here, where we get 50% base habitability on every planet, which is very, very nice. I think it's this. Yep. Pacifist movement. Okay, well, I don't really care if you're pacifist or whatever. As long as you're making resources, we are happy. And for the last option, remember to select cloning. So now we have one of each option. We can select anything for our final ascension. Ooh, architectural interest is really good. Yeah, this is now an amazing governor here. And we also get capacity subsidies, so let's take that as soon as possible. We still need to find mineral subsidies. That is somewhere as well. But it might be a while before we can find that. So yeah, we'll just hold on for a bit. And yeah, I think that the people shouldn't be too unhappy here with a medical center, because now they're producing a tiny bit of extra habitability, though it might still be 0%. Where does it say the habitability again? 0%. Yeah, okay. All right, we're aquatic, so we get 10% from buildings and minus 20% from aquatic to still be on 0%, which is quite funny. Anyhow, let's just continue to build up each and all of our planets and just start getting ready for the population boom that we're going to get as soon as we finish Ascension. And as you can see, our Unity is kind of dying off too already, but we don't have to worry about that. We should already have enough to complete the bio-ascension tree we take, such as cloning, as soon as the situation finishes, which we're just racing down as fast as possible with every single one of our planets having a research facility. As you can see, we're also producing decent tech. 180 society is not bad. That's like having almost 600 tech in society, and it usually just about guarantees you can find Elder Mauler. So yeah, that's basically what we're looking for, and we will be very happy when that happens. So yeah, let's just keep on pushing through. Also here, we're building a planetary administration so we can get a second district here, which is the physics specialization. And then, of course, we'll get society from our genetic research buildings. And then we'll get physics and engineering from our planets. And we get some basic tech options here. Let's just go with genome mapping. Genome mapping unlocks the advanced medical facility buildings, which will allow us to increase the efficiency of our POPs even more once we finish Ascension. Egalitarian ethics and pop production there is fantastic, so let's go ahead and take that. Let's see if these people like us. They kind of like us. We're just going to put 2 people on it to make sure we don't get attacked by AIs. That is usually the most important thing to do with AIs, is just make sure they don't attack you. Other than that, there is not too much to be careful of when it comes to AIs. Let's also just move another 100 pops over to max out the number of researchers we have. And this mineral planet also does not appear to be the planet we have that would produce gases, which is a bit unfortunate. But where the hell are we producing gases then? Rare planetary features. That's the button we're looking for. It's this one. Exotic gases from miners. I'm very tempted to build one mining district here. We can delete this later. And this will be our early game source of gases just until we can get the actual real exotic gas buildings instead of the mining ones. But I think that should definitely be worth it. Oh my god, we need more energy. Let's go ahead and sell some of those to get more energy credits. And it does look like on this planet, where was it? We need to prioritize the energy jobs, as we're definitely lacking in those. We'd also definitely need that mutagenic habitability, so pops will actually start to grow on this tomb world, as I don't think they're growing at all right now. Where's our pop growth here? Yeah, 0. 0 pop growth, thanks to 0 habitability, but that should change pretty soon, which we're all happy about. And yeah, as you can see, we're getting decent-ish pop growth on these colonies already. Like 7 is pretty good, despite having not ascended, which is very, very nice. And let's just make sure we keep building up these planets as fast as we can, make sure we're using all our minerals, and just keeping all these planets queued up, as it should be pretty important to do so. Favorite Society is almost completable now as well. Clone Drama Council Agenda Speed is actually not bad, but Pop Growth Speed is even better, so let's go ahead and take that. And yeah, just keep on building. Finally, that's why we took the mineral thing, because we do want mineral subsidies here, as we're going to need a lot of minerals very, very soon. And yeah, so these should be producing like a tiny amount of gas, I believe. Exotic gases per 100 miners, 0.2. Are we rounding to 1 exotic gas yet? Apparently not. How many do we actually need to round to like any gases at all, so I can start buying them with trade? I have no idea. Do we need a mineral purification here or something to start doing that? Or mining exotic gases per miners, per 100 miners. So I guess I need a minimum of 100 miners is what it seems like to me. Let's get some energy credits going. I don't want to buy an entire 1,000. And yeah, there we go. Now we should have some gases, I believe. And we're still not rounding up to 1. But let's see what happens there. Naval capacity, just, pass through attack as fast as we can there. And deflectors would be nice. We are running very low on a lot of trades, so let's go ahead and cancel a couple trade options here until we can get that sorted. We probably need to swap this over to a civilian industry now, as we're not going to be able to hold on to that for too much longer, as our basic economy is doing really poorly at this point in time. However, we should be able to fix this in due time. And did we lose 100 pops here to some event? We probably did. I see some devastation. And yeah, we're almost done Ascension, so this is when this build gets very, very nice. And do we find another good system for minerals? Wow. I was complaining that our first couple systems had bad minerals, but little did I know that problem was about to get solved very quickly, and we still are not getting gases. And just remember to take cloning. I always take a little second to read that, as I don't want to be the guy to click nanites in finals or something like that. In fairness, he got money for that, so what can I say? Maybe he was a genius. And here we just want to take Galactic Force Projection, and we want to open Supremacy to get ready for that Y30 military. So what we want to do as soon as we finished Ascension is, well, we just want to start building clone vats. So let's go ahead and start putting clone vats on most of our important planets, as this will help our pop growth quite a bit, and allow us to start really accelerating the game. The first planet we're actually going to put is our Tomb World colony here, as this planet, of course, is kind of struggling for pops currently, and this will get quite a bit better. We're up to 40% now. And we can also create a template, and in most lobbies, a lot of good traits are actually banned. But we can go exotic metabolism here. Wait, are we producing gases? This is why I want to produce gases, so I could take exotic metabolism and not suffer too much. But let's just go ahead and take it and then suffer the consequences. So let's set this as default, and then let's get our main species to integrate into default subspecies, which is now this one, with all the good traits of robust and exotic metabolism. We don't really need any pop growth speed traits, as we're going to have quite a bit of pop growth speed already. And yeah, I'm just so curious why we're not allowed to purchase gases, or we're not producing any, because this planet does indeed say exotic gases per miners plus 0.2. But clearly we need to fulfill some condition before that actually becomes the case. So let's see if we can figure that out before it's a bit too late. Honestly, we should be able to. Basically, we just need to sack a planet for a few gases, and that will give us enough time to hopefully build up that planet to the point where it's happy. That made no sense. You guys will see what I mean pretty soon, I guess. Oh my god, we're making 116 consumer goods. That is definitely more than we need, so let's go ahead and reduce some of that. Pearl divers, let's do like half as many. And let's delete this purchase, as we do not need that many consumer goods per month. That'll also save us some minerals, which will allow us to actually start building up these colony planets. Very nice, back up to 90-something minerals. And finally, also mature Mauler is something that we wanted to see for quite a while. And yeah, let's focus on the ship techs, because we definitely want to get those before it is too late. And maybe it is mineral extraction that we need to actually make these planets produce the gases that we want. So let's go ahead and prioritize that. It's a little bit of a deviation of our very important tech world. Also, we can just sack Unity into running triple subsidy now. It could make the best possible first pick, not One Vision, but Executive Vigor, as then you don't have to sack like 100 Unity per month now, which is definitely more than One Vision is giving us. However, I just like that Ascension as fast as humanly possible, so I didn't go with that. However, I can't imagine how that would be one of the most viable things you could do. We're even going to sell some of these alloys that we've bought. I think we've bought a few too many, just for some minerals as, well, we definitely just need more minerals at this point. And build speed is very important, so let's take that. And let's just do this as a cheap tech that we can roll through to get a new tech. And at this point in the game, what you actually want to do is you want to reform your government away from parliamentary and immediately into functional architecture and just pay the unity for it. And basically, yeah, we just want to extract gases here that will very quickly give us a source of gases until we can start producing them and buying them. Let's reform our government quickly as well. And we basically want to make sure we include a master architect, as this will give us much faster planetary build speed, which is basically the new bottleneck to our entire empire at this point in the game. So yeah, let's go ahead and start doing that. Let's also see if we can start producing gases the normal way at any point in time. Elder Mauler, perfect, year 17. And a mineral purification plant. So are we producing gases from this planet? Management. So where's the resource production on this planet? No, we are not. Why are we not? Do we need a building available? It does not appear to have a building available. I do not get this. What? Is this just bugged? Okay, whatever. We have exotic gas refineries. We'll definitely manage to finish that before that becomes a problem. But okay, I guess that tech is just a complete bait. It does not look like that works. That is so weird, to be honest. Maybe you need the mineral purification plant, but why doesn't it say that anywhere? Visual clarity is not the strength of Stellaris, as you can tell. Visual clarity. Alright, anyways, let's go ahead and increase the number of pearl divers, as we clearly do need that here. And as you can see, despite running the deficit on gases, our basic economy is still pretty good, because this gives minus 15% resources from jobs, and then this trait probably gives you more than that. What is it? Plus 25% habitability, plus 25% pop growth speed. So it doesn't quite give you that, but plus 25% habitability is probably worth about 10% resources from jobs in a lot of cases where our habitability is really bad. So yeah, it's not too bad. And then you get the pop growth speed. Let's take a look at this. 22, 22, and 22, or 16, right? And these planets aren't even that developed. So yeah, as you can tell, it is still very, very powerful to have the exotic metabolism trait. And you can just, sack a planet in order to or not sack a planet, but like put some destruction on a planet, and that'll give you hopefully enough time to research the exotic gas refineries. As you can see, we're at -4 already, so we don't have that much time, but maybe this mineral purification is what actually allows you to produce the exotic gases that were promised, but are not receiving. Upkeep, production, yeah. I could not tell you what's up with that. Do we need to clear a blocker or something? Like, I don't know. I don't know at all. This just appears to be lying, okay? Like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Like, if I was producing any, I'd be able to buy them. But I'm not producing any, so I can't buy them, which means we're going to get very low on gases. But we should be able to survive, so I'm not too worried. It's just a little bit nerve-wracking for sure. Yeah, let's just remember to buy up some minerals. As you can see, we're producing a surplus of trade again, so we can go ahead and continue to buy minerals and just keep all our planets rolling at this point. This is also one of the reasons why anglers are so good, as anglers produce a decent amount of trade, which allows you to convert into the resources that you're having trouble producing, which of course can help you solve a lot of your issues. Yeah, let's also just increase the amount of anglers we have, as we're going to need some more anglers, or pearl divers. I mean, yeah, anglers and pearl divers, I always get them mixed up. They're very similar at the end of the day. And as you can see, our economy is kind of finally thriving. We're making tons of minerals, tons of food, and this is when you usually want to start considering turning your planet around year 20 into having a militarized zone. or a what I mean by militarized zone is, of course, a military economy. So a heavy industry or a mixed industry. Usually, you want to try to go for one heavy industry, one civilian industry. Sometimes, if you're having a bad run, you'll need to go mixed industry and civilian industry, meaning you won't be able to build as many ships, but you'll have a very strong civilian economy, so you can focus more on tech. In that case, as you can see, our tech is not fantastic. Like, we're kind of keeping up in tech, but it's if you know what I mean. Like 607 tech is not amazing. It's not bad, but yeah, you could definitely use some more in a lot of cases. So, anyhow, let's build this exotic gas refinery as soon as possible, as we're going to need that for sure. And we're going to start focusing on some techs that will give us better fleets now, as we're going to want to start thinking about that. Given our current engineering tech situation, it's not the most likely we'll get tier 2 composite mandibles for our year 30, but we can pray. And yeah, we're going to decide when we want to start building ships soon, as we could start building ships now even. We have alloys, we have a good food income. However, I don't think we need to, and if we want to maximize our tech for year 30, then we would not build as much military power right now. If we wanted to maximize our military power for year 30, this is probably when we would start building. Just get the ball rolling as much as possible there. And yeah, as you can see, it is so great to have the great pop production we have on every planet. Like, this is 17 with just one clone vat. And since we're cloning, we can actually put multiple clone vats on every single planet, which is something we're going to do basically as soon as we have enough minerals, and we're going to have enough minerals as soon as our buildings complete on these planets. And yeah, take a look at this timing here, 36. So 6 months until the end of gas, and we have 2 months until we start producing gas the normal way. I don't know what's up with this trait, by the way. I don't know if I'm just really dumb. I probably am. But industrial mining site, like, none of these say, that I can tell at least, like, it actually allows us to extract that exotic gas. So what's the point of that tech? I don't freaking know. I really don't know. Like, I have 300, like, that should produce gases, but it doesn't. Oh well, I got baited. It's okay, I need to get over it. It's not a big deal. And oh, these planets have stopped building, so let's keep them building. And one thing you want to do is you actually want to roughly balance the same number of districts you have with support zones. Now, the thing with support zones is they're very expensive to build, so you don't want to build them right away. Ooh, we get advanced food processing. That is a really good tech, which means we're going to want to build moats as soon as we can on this planet here, which means I think now is the time to click on heavy industry. So in a few years, we're going to start to produce alloys, and we can start to look to militarize. So let's even build another mining district here. We're going to need as much minerals as possible, of course. And we're going to open statecraft, or not statecraft, supremacy, as we just want to get ready to have the biggest possible fleet year 30. This is, of course, fantastic for that. And take a look at this, 330 unity, and we're just burning unity to this as well. We're burning 100 unity. Ooh, we get this leader as well. That's a great leader. Let's take them as soon as we can. And we can use this paragon to do anomalies, and they're going to give us tech per anomaly we do. This is also when we would colonize another planet, and essentially what this planet is going to be used for is just naval cap, as we are going to be producing naval cap so quickly, very, very soon, that it's going to be not hard to believe, but it's going to be really awesome. Like, so I do look forward to that. Let's just keep every planet building here. Oh, we're losing energy like it's nothing. Oh yeah, it's because we need more pops there. Mistakes happen. We don't want to fire anyone on our council. And let's also get the support zones going here, as we do need some support zones. As I mentioned, support zones are completely broken, so we definitely want that. And let's also get these blockers starting to clear, as we're going to need those cleared to max out this tech planet, which, as you can see, right now is a little bit crowded. So yeah, oh my god, we're still losing energy. Let's just buy 500 to keep that okay until these districts are done. Of course, we do want to resettle some pops, so let's see if we can find some pops that have nothing to do and move them over. Let's go ahead and do that. Perfect. And yeah, we're 333 food here, which means we probably don't need to prioritize as much food as we are. um, as we're a bit like not overcapped, but we're doing good on food. We're definitely doing good on food. Um, Anyhow, let's also get clone vats all over the place. As you can see, we have some unfilled jobs across our empire, and we don't need to have that because we have access to a ton of clone vats, right? So we can just go ahead and build them everywhere we see that we need some more pops. Just clone vats, clone vats, clone vats. And afterburners is great. We will need afterburners for our ships. And let's take a look at our economy after this. It should be pretty good. 78 alloys. Very nice. And 34 consumer goods. So let's actually swap this over. And this is a bit risky to militarized economy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to enable some of these extra pearl divers here. And this should keep our consumer goods okay, and our alloys are now pretty good. 105, right? Not an amazing amount, like a resource consolidation could be making 300 alloys with a similar amount of tech at this point. But resource consolidation, of course, has to use alloy ships instead of mineral ships. And since we can use mineral ships, or not mineral ships, food ships, I'm sorry, that's, of course, a huge, huge advantage there. And yeah, as you can see, we also really need some pops on this planet. Let's just move some over. From the food world probably is a great place to move some pops over, so let's move some of those. And yeah, get these mineral jobs going, as we definitely need some of those. So let's turn this into a mineral thing. Let's also add a industrial mining site to give 200 more mineral jobs immediately, and then maybe a mining support to increase the efficiency of those miners by 20%, keep those miners going. As of course it looks like we need as many as we can get right now that we're actually producing so many alloys. One thing you can do if you have a really good food world here is we're still looking for the tech, but once we get the third civic, we can go ahead and take catalytic, which means our mineral demand goes down dramatically, and we can burn some of the incredible amount of food that we're producing in order to make more minerals available, and more alloys, of course, so it's like a double bonus. And another thing you can do is just disable your exotic gas building or whatever you're doing once you've collected a decent sum, as you do need more minerals, and burning minerals for a just incredible amount of rare resources is not really something you need to do. So it's a bit of micro, but you can just toggle it on and off when you get low, and that should all be fine. Ooh, we get faster motors, or we get crystals. I think it's very bad to ignore rare resource techs when they come up, as if you're unlucky, you can get really screwed by that in a lot of ways. So let's try not to do that. And let's also just try to keep every single one of these planets build queue just consistently rolling. And we should be doing pretty well. I think this is also the point in the game where I want to start building a few star bases up. Now, the thing with bioships is they build very slowly, so you need a ton, and I mean a ton of star bases. So yeah, never skimp on the star bases. I'm gonna do my best to remember to build probably at least like 8 or 9 of them for year 30, just so I have a ton of options in terms of militarizing quickly if are pretending to play like a real year 30 build, and just shit out as many ships as we can. So we're probably going to do that, to be honest. Also, did I not click colonize here? Oh, no, I see the colony ship now. It's over here. I did not see that. Look at him go. He's going to go colonize our military base. Look at that, 67 freaking motes per month. Like, why do I need 69 motes per month? That's like an entire building per month. That's an insane amount of motes. So we're not going to do that. Instead, we're just going to build out some of these support zones. And we're going to pray for tier 2 Neuro Institutes, as those are amazing. So like we need the medical center tier 2, as they give us more medical jobs, and more medical jobs means more pops, more pop efficiency. It is just fantastic. So yeah, hopefully we get that soon. We'll take military build up here, as we're going to be building up our military, so hopefully that is self-explanatory why that is good. So yeah, anyhow, let's go ahead and take a look at our ship tech very soon and just see what ships we should start building up, to be honest. First though, let's build a couple more mineral districts Did I build the wrong one? Oh yeah, the surface quarry depot gives jobs. The core drilling array gives districts. Oops, we mixed it up a little bit. Not a huge deal. But essentially, I believe people tell me that the best way to do this is to try to get pickets on each slot, and if pickets are banned, which they are sometimes, to be honest, is then you want to go with, no, which one are the pickets again? One of these is flak, one of these is pickets. I'm going to assume this is the pickets. um, yeah, I wish they used the similar names because I always get confused by the names here. Let's also see what kind of power situation our ships are looking like. Because these battleships do usually struggle with power. Let's see if we can save this even. Let's call this the Nya class Mauler. And it looks like we can save this, so we do have enough power there, which is nice. Though this is one tier 1 shield, which is pretty funny. And let's just keep researching these. Ooh, Arc Furnace, Starhold. And wow, that's a great option. Let's take Arc Furnace because it feels blasphemous to not take Arc Furnace, even though you totally could. Oh yeah, and this is one of the problems here is we're running out of Pearl Diver jobs. So yeah, let's get a few more of those, and let's start deleting these districts for city districts, and let's start buying consumer goods, as it looks like we're gonna need a few to maintain our economy here. And life complex system, let's just take something that is relatively cheap so we can roll it over quickly. And let's get another support zone here. And yeah, as you can see, this is when our basic economy starts to pop off. Our everything economy is starting to do well, which means let's build shipyards everywhere and start building these maulers. Now, these maulers have relatively shitty tech, which does kind of suck. However, as they're still very powerful because the power of those mandibles is just really, really insane. And oh yeah, as you can see, we need to start building already. So let's go. Ooh, wait, why are they not available? Save. Okay. Fleet manager, not mature, juvenile. And we basically want to start building, and they grow really slowly by default because we don't have any of the growth glands, I believe. No, we have the growth gland. Oops, let's go ahead and overwrite that, and let's go to our shipyard here, and this is gonna be pretty painful. Maybe that's not the best way to do this. Let's just retrofit them when they're done. That might be the way to do it. Yeah, just remember to fit the growth gland. Otherwise, they're gonna grow really, really slowly. I often forget to do that, and then you suffer. Anyhow, let's. No, those ships aren't even gonna finish because they're all queued on this literal 1-star base. So let's go ahead and start building that quickly. Let's also enable fleet supremacy and fortify the border. I know we're just burning unity into the air because we're over our edict cap, but as you can also see, that's a misclick. Oh well. But since this build is so powerful, you don't really have to worry about that too much, to be honest. You just survive and you do fine, you know. You'll do fine. I say with the burning like dog meme here, as my first set of ships are not going to have that growth gland correctly. That's fine, to be honest. When you say everything's fine, but it's not really fine, and you just have to pretend like whatever. Okay, whatever. We're gonna be chill. We're gonna have an arc furnace. It's Y30 arc furnace. It's not even like good or anything. But we're producing 600 food for ships, right? 120 alloys for ships. And hopefully we'll be producing more alloys as soon as we get the extra civic slot to go catalytic. Looks like we dodged it again, which kind of sucks. This is the downside of having just 3 research options, is your effective tech speed is pretty low when you want to beeline for certain techs. So yeah, we do lose a lot of efficiency there, but it's all right. We're still doing absolutely fine, and yeah, this planet here is going to be one of the bottlenecks in a lot of ways. Is yeah, it's just not going to be producing enough alloys for some time. It's all right though. That will be scaling up as soon as we can get it. And basically, what you want to do with this guy, this renowned scientist, is you just want to set him to excavate archaeology sites and anomalies, as he'll give you extra tech for every time you complete it and level up your council. And my council is not particularly high level, so you can imagine why that is a very helpful thing. Also, as you can see, our tech is up to almost 1K at year 25, 800. Although our consumer goods situation, nobody look at it. We're surviving. We're surviving on consumer goods. It could definitely be better, though. Like, why does this keep rotating? The leaders just die so fast, I guess. Juvenile Harbinger, Edict Fund, that's 20 for Unity. Civilian Fabricators, perfect. What does this give? 20% upkeep. Okay, so nothing that fantastic. I believe the tier 2 actually gives output, which is of course what we're looking for at this point, but we don't quite have it yet, so let's just keep going. And yeah, 1K fleet, not fantastic of course, but we're still building up with as many star bases as we can get. And none of those ships should be leveled up yet. They're probably all juveniles, right? And you know, once they start leveling up, that's when they'll start to get much stronger, and they're decent. They're still decent. And this is not even a food world, I just realized, so let's go ahead and turn that into a food world. Once again, you want to have about the same number of support zones as aquaculture zones. I find the math is not so crazy that you want to mini-max to a crazy extent, and I essentially just try to eyeball it. Like, I click buttons randomly, whether, like, depending on how I'm feeling, and as long as you're not too egregious, like biased towards having districts or having jobs, you'll be okay. So yeah, remember to build cities for extra support zones, and then actual jobs by building the actual districts themselves, right? As yeah, those support zones giving a 40% bonus each time you click it is really crazy. Whoa, we're about to run out of gases, so let's go ahead and re-enable that. Yeah, just do keep an eye out on that. And this is also one of the UI problems, right? Is you won't be able to tell that, except for seeing that this number is 200, right? So that's a very low number. And whoa, our consumer goods are not happy. They are so unhappy. I think I should go mixed industry here, right? Yeah. Looks like we were not able to support militarized economy, so maybe don't click that. There's your lesson today, guys. Yeah, do not click militarized economy unless you can support it. However, let's build an arc furnace. Let's build an arc furnace. Yeah. How's this arc furnace? 19, and this one should be okay. It's probably oh, it's 8. Okay, never mind. Never mind. 12. 0, 8, 6, 7. Okay. Well, we are having a bit of a skill issue on the alloy front. No worries. Catalytic would definitely solve this. So let's hope we can get catalytic soon. We are researching that now. Ooh, I wonder if we could survive until we get that on consumer goods. Can we buy 70 consumer goods per month until we get that? I don't know. That seems like a bit of a stretch, to be honest. And by a bit of a stretch, that feels like a pretty extreme stretch. Do I have the right combat computers? I probably don't. Where's the combat computer slot even? Oh, shoot, we don't even have combat computers. Okay. Well, yeah, well, we hadn't researched that, so a bit of an oops there. A bit of an oopsie daisies. I guess the one thing we could do is we could stop expanding our world here and just try to upgrade this world as much as possible. Do we have the maximum number of pearl divers enabled? Yes, we do. Also, I'm kind of curious, what is the pop efficiency on these guys like currently? It's like okay. It's like plus 40%-ish, but obviously there's room to improve there. We have completely capped on food. Let's just sell some and use that to buy consumer goods. So yeah, the ratios here are not quite right because I went military economy, but I can swap this back to like neutral or even civilian again at 2231. So let's just try to buy consumer goods until then, I guess. That seems like it could be the play. Oh, I know why I'm struggling so much. I forgot to go back to consumer benefits. Oh, that should solve the math quite a bit. There we go. Look at that. Our consumer goods problems are solved. Thank God I didn't go through with demolishing the district there, as that would hurt our alloys a lot. I was like, I for some reason feel like this build doesn't feel right. Like I practiced this 2 times already, and neither time did I have that big of a problem with consumer goods. So I was like, what is going on? And well, we figured out what was going on. And that is I skill issued the build. So my apologies there. I did mention that even. I just forgot to actually do it, which is a bit embarrassing. But hey, when you're talking and playing, it's a little bit harder than just playing. All right, I'll give myself a bit of leeway there. And these are all good options. Let's go. Combat computers there. Let's also just remember to continuously build up our ships. As you can see, we're a bit too much food, a bit not enough alloys, which is usually what happens when we get a very late third civic, which is kind of what happened here in my opinion. But it's all okay. You can just sell the food even for a really bad price and just buy the resources you do need. It's not a huge deal. And you still should be doing fine. So, whoa, what is this energy situation? Energy, what is going on? Okay, we just need more energy districts. Okay, let's go ahead and prioritize this to the top, buy some energy. And yeah, let's take a look at our naval cap situation. 118 at year 28. It's not too bad at all. Of course, we could be doing better, but we did start building military just a little bit late, which is fine. But let's go ahead. Revolting pests. What are unique Xenobot? I believe you want to research them, and it gives you a good outcome. So, anyhow, let's go ahead and take catalytic now. Where is catalytic? Catalytic. There we go. Take catalytic. Head of research. Perfect. And then we want a minister of the seas. Perfect. And then we want a catalytic technician and a master. I forgot to put a minister of defense in, guys. Oops. We don't talk about that, but we don't need the naval cap immediately, so we'll be okay for a little bit. Yeah, we can get the naval cap from going supremacist, I think. Once that is available to us. We're burning 250 unity now. That seems like a bit much. What can we turn off here? We can turn off Fortify the Border. We can turn off Veneration of Saints. And to be honest, we could probably turn off capacity subsidies, as we're barely having any of these jobs, and just simply employing a few more people here should fix the energy negativity. I forget what you're supposed to click here. Oops. Well, we'll just click something and find out. Anyhow, as you can see, our alloys are pretty good now, so we can go ahead and max those out. Ooh, and I think we have some non-juvenile maulers growing now. Also, we can go ahead and give these some commanders and such, just so they'll be a little bit less weak. Not a huge deal. And one thing you can actually do now in Stellaris is you just go here and you click every single rare resource costing edict, because they're so free. They cost so little to upkeep now relative to the amount you can produce, right? So you just use them. And it's a pretty big benefit to your fleet power. It's a pretty big benefit to your, like threateningness. Everyone will read like superior or whatever when they see your military, and it's simply just because you have all the edicts on. The only downside is you can't surprise somebody by randomly toggling the edicts, which is somewhat of a downside. Oh, we get composite mandibles, but it's like a little bit too late for our year 30 fleet. Unlucky. Anyhow. Oh yeah, all pops produce gases. Okay, yeah, I remember there was a good outcome to that. Anyhow, let's just go ahead and remember to keep building up all our worlds, because we have been yapping for quite a while, which has left us a little bit distracted and not maximizing all our planets. Let's get all these gene clinics upgrading as soon as we can. I do believe that's going to be the best use of our resources and our time. Let's put these on the highest priority if they're not already. Gene clinics, let's just buy some energy to maintain that. Yeah, there's a lot of microing if you want to min-max the efficiency of your empire, which does make sense. It would be pretty bad if a min-maxed, like hyper-efficient build didn't involve microing and you just got it for free. That would honestly be worse in my opinion. Why am I building a crew quarters here? We should be building a naval logistics office. I wonder what I should have sacrificed in terms of, probably master architect to be dropped for military capacity. But yeah, let's just save unity now to finish supremacy. And we can use that supremacy to give us a little jump in naval cap that we're desperately going to need, as As you can see, it's year 30. This is about the 20k, 15 to 20k we expect. Um, However, as you can see, the basic economy is really, really strong. And what that means is you can just go way over naval cap. Of course, it's better to just have a higher naval cap if you don't accidentally mess that up like I did. Um, but yeah, you should be able to protect yourself quite good with this build. As this build also scales by itself, right? If you do nothing but just exist, like these maulers with the correct growth glands installed. Let's see if we have any. These are all tier 1 growth glands. Oh my god. Wait, did these all build with the tier 1 growth glands? Please don't tell me that. Oops. Let's go ahead and upgrade these fleets. Let's click these buttons, let's get some upgrades. I do hate how the system works for upgrading these fleets. It feels a little awkward, but I'm sure once you get used to it, it's quite a bit better. Um, Anyhow, let's go ahead and delete these last 2 districts here for city districts. And then, as you can see, our worlds are already basically maxed out, which is pretty crazy, to be honest. So yeah, we just finished this arc furnace. We don't have to build this. We can replace this with city districts here as well, giving us just a few more. Whoa, what is this energy? Hello, energy planet. How are you doing? Are you doing good? Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. We just need to build a little more energy. As you can see, our energy to mineral ratio is not the best right now. Definitely not the best, but it will get better over time, so we don't have to worry too much. We're still on tier 1 materials workshop. I just realized that's so bad. Unlucky. But yeah, as you can see, 20k fleet within year 30. Very, very nice. And they're just going to continuously upgrade as well from the hopefully now corrected growth glands. Please have the correct growth glands. Yeah, okay, as you can see, as they're upgrading, they're being corrected to having the tier 2 growth gland, which will allow them to eventually upgrade themselves to the elder mauler. And as you can see, we already have some mature maulers, which is very nice. But yeah, once they become elder maulers, they're really going to be really, really powerful. Elder maulers will beat cruiser fleets, battleship fleets, like just they're ridiculously strong, guys. Like one thing I have seen as well, so I thought I'd mention this, is you can go Distinguished Admiralty and just build like the craziest strong, like 150,000 strong Mauler fleets for like year 60 or something. And I did get owned by that, by Sven the Duck in multiplayer. So thanks for showing me that. I don't know the exact series of things you want to do to maximize that, but I'm just saying you can do that, which is very, very cool. Let's go ahead and replace this with a generator district now, or generator support. As you can see, we're way overcapped in a lot of ways. I don't want an automation building. I want a clone vat. Do I have? I must have max clone vats. So let's go ahead and build some city districts here. We can use some soldiers to get some better naval cap here. And basically, our next goal after this will to start building a Cumulinopolises as soon as we can. And essentially what we want to do with that, of course, is we want to have 20,000 minerals, which will require us to upgrade one of these star bases with a special district for that. So in the meantime, let's just queue up a whole bunch of buildings to use this extra minerals, as we don't want to be piling them up with no use for them. That is a bit of a waste. So yeah, let's just click a bunch of buildings. And then what we want to do is, yeah, just make sure we get these star bases upgrading. Starhold. I still didn't research Starhold, really. I feel like I researched Starhold already, but I guess I must have skipped it. I've seen it like twice, I think, at least. So I've just skipped it for some reason or another, which is fine. Let's upgrade this arc furnace once again. And this food situation is ridiculous. Hopefully this generator support helps. Yeah, we're producing so much trade. Honestly, we can just burn resources like that to trading. Not a huge deal. And we do also get composite mandibles here, or the tier 2 mandibles, which will be very, very nice. And yeah, as you can see also, we're just able to continuously build up our fleet. You basically just want to keep building fleet now from here to the end of the game. You really never want to stop. You never need to stop. As you can see, the economy can support it with no problem at all. And that is despite, despite building way too much minerals and not enough of other things. Though this will be good for a Cumulinopolis spam. Essentially what you want to do from here is we want to research the Cumulinopolis tech, which it's that city tech. I'll pause until we see it, and just continue to play at this point because you kind of see the idea. One planet for defenses, giving us naval cap. One planet for energy and minerals, and then one planet, the largest one hopefully, for food. As food has incredible demand with this build, and then you just continuously build ships for the rest of the game. You overcap your naval cap to a crazy amount. It doesn't matter. You can sustain it. It does dent your food and alloy income quite a bit, but your food and alloy income are also somewhat resilient. Once you get an Ecumenopolis, at least, food can become a problem. Um, if you in late game you find more planets, they should be foods worlds because food worlds are the only worlds that don't get a bonus from becoming a Ecumenopolis. So of course you're going to want to get some more food worlds. As if you don't get some more food worlds, well, you run out of food. As they're the least vertical planets you have, and the other planets you do get, like such as minerals and energy, you really just deprioritize minerals as soon as you get your Ecumenopolises to have a small amount of extra minerals. Um, but you don't need a crazy amount. Where's this thing? I need a conductive workplace complex, right? And yeah, just go ahead and just keep building up. As you can see, when I'm talking, the resources build up so fast that I'm unable to keep up with using them at all, which is pretty funny. But yeah, this is kind of the experience of playing with a very powerful build. Um, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this because I certainly do. As you can see, we're closing in on 30k at year 33, and as you can imagine, this just continuously scales throughout the game. Um, and yeah, anglers at this point is just for the food. As you can see, we're not even using the pearl divers anymore. These are just regular artisans, and they're more than good enough. But yeah, I'm gonna cut until I find the arcology tech and start building those. Um, so yeah, also finally building that resource silo I talked about that you definitely need. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna cut until we get that Ecumenopolis. Quick update. So I made a major mistake, and that is when I finished Supremacy, I accidentally took a tradition perk. Do not do this, guys. Wait until you research the tech that allows you to build Ecumenopolises, then select the perk. I was not thinking, I selected it, so this means my Ecumenopolises are going to be really, really late. But as you can see, at year 36, 640 unity, very good. 1.2k tech or something like that, also very good. Um, like, we're not struggling in any way. My food is just capped. I've given up on trying to keep up with using it. Um, let's take a look at our fleets. Like, what is that? Like 30, 40, 50k. That's not quite 50k yet, but it's getting close. Right? Nearly 50k fleet, 500 naval cap, going strong. This huge ass food planet has tons more room to go vertical. Um, which is just amazing. And this planet is just waiting to be echoed, as it has all districts ready to go. I just messed up, and now I need to complete an entire tradition tree before I can go echo. So please do not do this. Please leave your fourth pick open for a for Ecumenopolis tech. Anyhow, it's now going to be a while. It's probably going to be past year 45 by the time that happens. So yeah, that's not going to happen in this episode. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. As you can see, like, with, what is this, 50,000 fleet of, like, real powerful nav cap, by year 36 in most lobbies against anything but the absolute best players. Yes, there's some players who can get, like, 30k cruiser year 30 these days. My next episode will be about that build, though we will not be getting 30k cruisers year 30 because we are not that good. Maybe 15 to 20 is our goal for that as well. So yeah, there will definitely be threats, but you should be able to keep yourself safe, at least with a build like this, and scale up. As you can see, we still have ridiculous pop growth in all these planets. What is this, 15 on the Tomb World? What's the regular world, 20, 22 or whatever, like 18. The growth is starting to slow down as the planets fill up with such a ridiculous amount of pops. We have a good tech, as we only have a tier 1 materials workshop, and this is still pretty decent tech, right? So yeah, this is basically the most powerful builds that I know of these days, at least the one that I'm best at. So yeah, hopefully you guys can take advantage of this and enjoy it in multiplayer before aspects of this build are inevitably banned as well. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.